We live in a world where energy is yet to be largely renewable. In this world, we are faced with continual growth of emerging markets, economies, and countries that have massive demands for fuel, and we are all in competition for a dwindling resource. Hydraulic fracturing, or fracking as it's more commonly known, has claimed to be the solution to this growing issue. Unfortunately, though, fracking causes many more problems than it solves. The United States should ban fracking as a means to provide injury because of its high potential and tendency to contaminate groundwater, its negative impact on air quality, and the creation of induced seismic events. I want all of us to contact our legislators and make them prevent this disastrous practice from continuing. Fracking is a method by which a well is drilled and then high pressure water, sand, and a cocktail of chemicals are forced into the well, fracturing the bedrock and releasing oil and natural gas, which the company then comes in and refines. One well uses 7 million gallons of liquid, of which about 1% are chemical additives, according to Dr. Bing Ong. 1% is roughly 70,000 gallons. It's pretty easy to see how that amount of chemicals could contaminate surrounding groundwater. According to Dr. Bing, an article in the British Columbia Medical Journal noted that an analysis of 353 of these chemicals found that more than 75% could have respiratory, gastrointestinal, dermatological, and ocular effects. 40 to 50% could be neuroimmune and nephrotic. 37% could be endocrine disruptors, and 25% could be carcinogenic or cancer causing. In 2013, the Huffington Post reported on the Klein family of Ohio, who could cause ignition by putting open flame near the tap, regardless of whether the water was running or not, and get a continuous spout of flame all the way to their ceiling. Not only do you have the likelihood of a toxic chemical cocktail coming through your pipes, but there are high levels of methane that have been reported. That's right, folks, you now have flammable water straight from the tap. Speaking of methane, it's just one of the many airborne contaminants released by fracking. Methane, ethane, propane, and radon, along with other volatile organic compounds, are routinely released during the process, which have been known to cause major respiratory issues for anyone in the vicinity. All of the aforementioned gases have been linked to respiratory failure, bronchitis, asthma, lung cancer, and even death. They are just a few of the many agents that get lumped into the term greenhouse gases. According to an EPA report, when the volatile organic compounds mix with nitrogen in the presence of radiation from sunlight, ground level ozone is created, which can cause major respiratory issues for the young and old, as well as be extremely detrimental to vegetation and the surrounding ecosystems. Hydrofracking has been linked directly to induced seismic events. You guys heard that right. Not only do you get undrinkable, flammable water and unbreathable air, but let's go ahead and throw in earthquakes to boot. Although the USGS has published numerous studies linking fracking to localized earthquakes, the pro-fracking lobby has been able to muddy the waters by claiming that the reasons for these earthquakes are too numerous to pinpoint exact cause. Recent research, however, coming from the University of Calgary, have issued results of a study of Fox Creek. This study shows that through the use of intensifying pressure and volume of liquid, fracking is directly responsible for causing earthquakes. Now, there are some common pro-fracking stances. First, people are going to lose their jobs as the industry closes down. Second would be that current greenhouse technology cannot meet the insatiable demand for power across the world. And third, the cost is just simply too high for the consumers. All are legitimate claims, but are easily fixable. Just like all industries, a concerted effort towards renewable energy sources will make it both viable and extremely cost-effective. When the first oil well was dug, it was a speculative venture that cost an astronomical amount. With the investments of time, energy, and money, efficiency was gained, processes and procedures were developed that made oil a viable, profitable venture. These same investments must be made for greener power. Jobs may be lost when shuttering the fossil fuels industry. However, R&D, educational, technician, maintenance, and installation positions, as well as unforeseen jobs, will be created, as is fairly typical with any emerging industry. According to big oil experts, the cost of cleaner tech makes it prohibitive. Bear in mind that these same experts work for an industry that has invested billions, with a B, into fossil fuels. The cost of abandoning these decades-old investments and moving forward is prohibitive only to the fossil fuel industry. So in conclusion, the science and data provided by the USGS, EPA, the EU, and countless university research teams all point to the long-term devastation caused by hydrofracking. The U.S. needs to set an example for the world and ban fracking. We need to ban fracking. It's far past the time of fossil fuels, and the future is now, and it is ours. No longer should corporations determine what's best for our country or our world, when in reality, they're only interested in what's good for their bank account. We as a people need to see oil, coal, and natural gas, as well as the methods to obtain them for what they actually are: fossils, relics of the past.